Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope everyone has had a good week. It always seems like we do these, every Friday, and it always seems like it's only been like a day or two since our last meeting together. So time always seems to fly. But today we will have a guest. It's actually one of my former clients, Jenny, and a group member as well. And it's probably been, close to maybe like 6 months or so since we trained together. Delton, good to see you. Hope all is well. Hope the work schedule died down a little bit also. And we're going to go over her story. So she has an interesting story, which a lot of people can relate to. She's a single mother of two, company owner as well. And she came to me, I believe, during the peak of COVID. I forgot exactly if it was like the first go around or the second go around. But anyways, she's around like 5'4" or so. I forgot her exact dimensions. Danilo, good to see you. But she came to me around like 150 pounds or so, and full-blown type 2 diabetic. She was on metformin. She did the normal route of going to the doctors, and obviously they just put her on a bunch of drugs and stuff of that sort, and got her on her way. But she wasn't happy. Dennis, good to see you, but she wasn't happy with her appearance and the fact that the metformin, which is a very common drug that's used to quote unquote help people with type 2 diabetes. But in reality, in my opinion, and from my observation, what a lot of these drugs do is, in a sense, they just allow a person to keep doing the behaviors that led them to all their problems to begin with. And unfortunately, the belief system and that led to that maladaptive behavior, that led to, for example, the type 2 diabetes, is a belief system that will also lead to a myriad of other health issues down the line eventually. Maybe not soon, maybe not right away, but eventually. And unfortunately, when a doctor prescribes someone metformin, which is used for type 2 diabetes, it might help them, quote unquote, help with the diabetes. Jenny, good to see you. She just came in. It might help with the diabetes, but it's not going to help you avoid all the other health issues that are inevitably going to be caused from that same exact maladaptive behavior. So I'm going to get Jenny on board. I'm going to center it right here. Michael, good to see you. Ray, Marin, good to see you. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name. Always terrible with some names. Groffman, good to see you. Jenny, what is up? Long time no see.
I know, no, 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 my dear
Yeah,
Eugene, I miss
that office looks
you.
familiar. So, yeah, I kind of know it. I,
Yes,
I
I
can spot
know.
those doors from a mile away. For some
I,
reason, it's just those doors in that office.
ah,
So
oh, no, no,
a little bit of
no.
background, guys.
I
Obviously, I
know.
used to do. Let me move this back a little bit. Obviously, I used to do in-person coaching, and when I was doing in-person coaching, way back in the day in Orange County, Jenny was my massage therapist, believe it or not. So she's great. And if you guys are in the Orange County area, I would highly recommend going to her because massage therapists are kind of tough to find. Like good massage therapists are tough to find, rather. Sometimes they just don't listen to you, or sometimes you tell them like, "Hey, massage my calves," and they're massaging your neck the whole session. And Jenny's very thorough. She listens to you on what you need, and she takes her time with you and really cares for you. And when you find one of those massage therapists, you got to stick to them because it's going to be a long time before you find another one like that. I moved obviously, and I'm still on the lookout here. I probably already gone through like 6 different massage therapists, and I'm thinking I'm just going to buy like a massage chair and then stick with that. Definitely not as good as a good person, but at least it beats having to find a good massage therapist in the area. So highly recommend it. I'll even include her email and stuff of that sort, or contact. I forgot if you had a website, Jenny, but I'll get it from you and include it in our group. So if you guys are looking for someone really good in the Orange County area, I would recommend going to her. But today, we're going to talk about her story and about her transformation, which a lot of group members can probably relate to. Jenny, found herself at one point with a little bit more excess body fat than she wanted. She's obviously a mother of two with a business owner as well. So she kind of has a hectic schedule, like probably a lot of you do. And Jenny, I'm just going to let you take over. So we'll just kind of wing it. It'll be very casual. Let's start with even way before you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, because I know this is actually like really common, but a lot of people don't think it's going to happen to them. You know, a lot of people are like, well, it's definitely not going to happen to me and I don't have to worry about it until you have to worry about it, you know? And then they obviously, unfortunately, for a lot of people, in my opinion, they go down the typical route, which I feel doesn't help them in the long term. You know, they go to their local medical doctor and they're just prescribed medications, but the behavior and the environment that led to those issues are never dealt with, and obviously those issues get worse over time. So Jenny, go ahead, take over, and then I'll try to keep up with your story and shoot you some questions back in here, back and forth, and we'll go from there.
Yes, well, I'm Jenny Verdi, and I've been here, uh, been working as massage therapist for so long. And as you said, everything what you said is just the truth. I never thought I was gonna get diabetes, never in my life. First of all, because um, in my family we don't have, as long with my mom, we don't have my mom's side, we don't have any diabetes. My mom has arthritis rheumatoid, and I was scared of that to get it because I know how painful it is. I know that she has to go through many medications, maybe going to the doctor. I have to take her to the doctor all the time, and she's not feeling well some days she's feeling well. So I thought I was going to get that. But all my life I haven't had so much energy, and when trying to eat healthier, I relate so much to you, Eugene. I was grown in Mexico, and I was eating, vegetables from the ground. My mom, we didn't have a farm, but we live around the farms, and we could get fresh food, and we didn't have freezers to keep the food, so everything was fresh all the time, eggs and everything. So, and we walk a lot. And when I started getting, I'm older, I got a bicycle. I was riding my bicycle like one hour a day, maybe going to one place to another. So I was always very active. So I was, I thought that I was healthier, and never. I came to this country, I started eating, you know, not good food, and of course I had a little bit more money. I could afford more stuff. Was able to buy hamburgers and all these good things that they're not good for you. But I was able, so I gained some weight, and throughout my life with kids and everything, I lost track of what I have to eat. And even though I had my roots and I knew what to eat, I gained the weight, I lost the weight, I work out myself, because I consider myself pretty good with working out, but not enough. And of course, with the food. So when start changing all my things in my life, like, and I went to very very stressful time in my life with you know issues in my life, and I started feeling like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good, like, a healthy wise. I didn't have the energy that I had all the time. So I'm like, there's something wrong. And I was like, I don't, my joints hurt a lot. And I massage, I don't know, 5 people, 6 people a day. I'm here every day from Monday through Saturday. And I'm like, I was worried for the arthritis because I'm like, oh my God, my joints are starting to hurt. My hands are starting to hurt. And of course, my weight was more than that. And back then I had a trainer and he always pushed me to do it. But me. And I'm agree with you that no matter how good the program, no matter how much they pushed, no matter, it was me. It was me. So, you know, I started feeling all these symptoms, and finally I went to the doctor and I got the blood test. And when she told me it was diabetes 2, I was I wasn't like scared or anything. I was mad at myself because I knew my body was giving me the signs. I I didn't take the responsibility to work out enough, to go healthier, to avoid some foods, and you know blah blah blah. And I was mad at myself. So I decided, I'm like, I have to do a change, because in that moment I pictured myself like in 5 or 10 years, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Okay, diabetes right now, and then what? Something else is gonna come. And who's going to take care of myself? My kids? No, this is not their job. I have to take care of myself right now. So I have to do it. And I promised myself that before the age of 50, I was going to lose my weight for sure. So the doctor gave me, she told me to cut some foods and do more exercise. And she gave me the medication, metformins. And I took it for like, I don't know, 3, 4 months. I lost the weight and my A1C went down a little bit. And then I started feeling like rashes on my face, like I was getting like red spots around it. And I'm like, no, this is not good. And I was feeling like shaking, and combined with coffee, because I was drinking coffee, it was like, what is this? Why am I getting like this? So I called the doctor. She's like, just leave it for 2 weeks and then go back again. I did. It helped. But then again, the red spots around my face. And this is not good. This is not good for me. And then she suggested to give me, she gave me another pill. I don't remember which one, but it helped for 2 weeks. Then after 2 weeks, I mean, I consider myself I'm very patient. I'm very mellow. I'm a happy person. I enjoy my life. But when I was taking that medication, I had the worst thoughts in my life ever. It was weird. And I even went to my church. I'm like, pray for me because something's going on with me. I don't know what's going on. And my friend was like, Jenny, you're never like this. What's going on with you? It's like, you never come with us to pray for anything. What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, but I feel these panic attacks and anxious and worry for stupidest things. I don't know. So she's like, are you taking any medication? And I'm like, yes. Like, what about the medication is making you sick, making all these things? I'm like, oh. I stopped the medication. I called the doctor. I'm like, I'm not taking anything. Don't give me anything else because I'm not taking anything. This is the worst thing that happened to me. This medication, I don't want it. I'm gonna do medicine. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna take care of myself. I don't know. So then, of course, you were coming with me for massage, and you never you would never approach me like in a bad way. No, Jenny, I'm gonna help you. Nothing. You were always very nice, and I really appreciate that from you, Eugene. And when I told you that I had diabetes, you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and it was the pandemic already, and I was working out here and there because of my schedule, because of, you know, I honestly didn't have time. And that was something with my trainers that I'm like, I cannot say at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be here Monday, Wednesday. I can't. I couldn't do that because my schedule, my kids, my family, so many things. So I really couldn't set up a time, right? So when you came to me and you told me, Jenny, I can help you, I was like, this guy knows what he's doing. And Eugene, I'm going to tell you this. Your skin is one of the most
Oh,
beautiful
thank you.
skins I have ever massaged. It's so smooth. It's so clean. It's really nice, really nice. And I mean, I know when the people eat healthy, when people don't drink alcohol, when people take care of themselves, and it's the skin tells everything. So I was like, this guy must be doing something. And we talk, but not that much like about life or anything, but just hanging out in the gym or but I'm like, this guy has something. So I remember back in the days I prayed and I said, I need help. I know I need help. And you were an answer to my prayers. And I said, here it is. With no hesitation, I said yes. But I remember you told me, but Johnny, you're gonna follow everything that I tell you. You're gonna do everything that I tell you. And I'm like, okay, Captain.
You're like El Jefe.
So, so I'm like, see. I'm like, shoot, I don't like when men tell me that, okay? So, all right, I'll follow him. So, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be with the food. And when you start telling me all these things, the food changing and only meat and chicken and fish, I'm like, what about my cheese? What about milk? Well, I don't drink that much milk, but and I'm like, what about all these things that I my rice and all of a sudden you're like, no, no, nothing of that. But little by little, I noticed and remember that before I was more clean back then on my earlier years. So, it made me feel that, this is the right thing to do. This is the right amount of food that I have to eat. This is the right thing to do. And little by little, I did the changes and I noticed my changes right away. And one thing that it helped me so much, Eugene, it was the pictures. The pictures, boom, I knew that I was losing the weight. I knew that I was looking better. I knew that my skin was much better, was cleaner. Everything was much better. So in the process, the doctor, of course, I went to the doctor and told me getting this blood test, and she's like, "Well, your A1C is still high, but we can give you another medication." I'm like, "No, I'm not taking any medication. I'm following this program. I'm eating very healthy." And she's like, "Okay, well, if you feel like you're doing the right thing, it's okay with me. But remember, we can give you a medication." I'm like, "No, not taking medication." So your workouts work very good with me because even though you told me to do it like in a steady schedule, I wasn't able to do it because
Hmm.
first of all, the gym was closed. And of course, I didn't know what was going on with all this virus and everything. And I was still working. So I couldn't really do that much because I was scared that
Yeah.
I'm going to pass the virus to somebody else. We didn't know. So, so I'm like, well, even though the gym there was nobody here. So I
Jenny,
could
really
work
quick,
out,
I hate
but
to interrupt you,
still, I
and I
didn't
want you
have.
to continue. I love your story and hearing the progression of it. Can you step back like a little bit? This right here is kind of rubbing against
Oh, this
your
one here.
shirt, and you can hear the rubbing.
Yes, yes. Oh, okay,
Well, let's
okay.
try it.
Better?
I think it's better as long as it's not resting on your chest,
Okay.
because when you move around, it rubs against the material, and you
Yes,
can hear
yes.
the
All right.
static.
Yeah.
So you don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to hold it like
Ah,
this,
okay.
but
Perfect.
you can hold it like that too.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hold it like this. Yeah. So, um, when you suggested me to buy those things, the rubber bands and the step, well, so many things you recommended for me, and I bought them. And I'm like, you know what? This is good. This is good. So little by little, I start working out in the gym, and I feel more confident, and some weights that I have at home. So all that stuff helped me to go into the to lose the weight, and then I lost the weight. I don't know, probably in 6 months, 20 pounds. I don't remember very well, and I was like, oh, this is great. And I knew myself that if I would have
Hmm.
stopped there, I would gain the weight again. So I'm like, no, I have to have to continue. I have to be more steady with my food and my exercises, and then little by little, everything open up. But there was one time that I didn't really lose any weight at all. And you know that. You remember that. You were like, Jenny, you're not eating the right food, or what are you doing wrong? I'm like, no, I'm not, I'm doing everything. But then I started realizing that, yes, I can tell. And of course, I'm a massage therapist. I didn't know what exactly was going on inside my body, my organs, and how much damage I caused to my organs, my liver, my pancreas, my lungs. I didn't know. So I'm like, I was a little bit frustrated because I'm like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm not losing any weight. Do I need to do more cardio? Do I need to do more stuff? I'm doing what he's telling me what to do, and what is going on. But when I realized that, and also teach me that to be more constant with my food, constant with my exercise, a schedule, a structure, it helped me to go to be right now here, because otherwise I would have gained the weight again. So in this program, totally, it's, I love your program because it's just from A to Z. You know, it's not, you're not only focusing on food, on or exercise. You're focusing on mentally, physically, emotionally, maybe even religiously. I don't know,
Remember, children of
but
the Church of
everything
Iron,
from A
Gym
to
of the
Z,
Gods.
and it's
I'm still selling memberships. It's like for free. You just got to pay with your soul, and you have a lifetime membership. You know.
yes, yes. So um, it's very important. It's very, I think it's totally, we are, you know, a body that we have a brain, and also the brain is very, oh my gosh, I want to know why, how to control the brain, because this brain
Hmm.
tells you so many things that, you know, it puts me into lazy mode. It puts me into, no, you're not losing the weight. Don't do it. You're gonna gain it again. So no, I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna be, um, I'm gonna lose my weight. I'm, no matter what, I'm gonna lose the weight. I'm doing the right thing. He's helping me, and I really, really appreciate you, Eugene, that you were very, you support me so much, even though on my times that I was like, and you knew that I wanted to give up, and I went on like, no, this is it, I don't want to do it, I'm not gonna lose it, I'm not going to, because first of all, my hormones are getting crazy, my, and I tell you every time, oh, it's because Eugene, I have to eat bread because I was craving this thing, and I'm gonna get my period. And you're like, no, Jenny, you have to be strong. I'm sorry, I have to eat it. And you were like, well, it doesn't matter. Just continue. Just continue. So thank you so much. It was very good, very helpful from you to really support me in that way. And then you recommend me so many things. You recommend me so many products to do to get my goal. So I'm I'm still, you know, with my diet, my program that you have, that you gave me, I'm still with that. It's easier. It's totally easier. Totally easy. I got on vacation. We recently went to Vegas last weekend, and we got an Airbnb, and I cooked the breakfast, and we went out to eat, yes. And you know, my protein, my vegetables, yeah, here and there some a little not good things, but we walk a lot. We had the pool, so it was good. And you know, I didn't gain any weight. I wasn't bloated. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't. I had a lot of energy. So my energy is totally back. My energy is totally. I'm here, so I can dance whole night and not tired. So I'm so happy. I am so happy that I really follow your program and the answer to my
Well,
prayers.
Jenny, let's
Thank you.
go back to, you kind of mentioned some important things and I wanted to touch on them. And a lot of this goes under the radar of like the average American. Because the average American would do this, you know, they wouldn't do like everything you did because you had the unique circumstance of being surrounded by a lot of health professionals working at a health and wellness
Mm-hmm.
center. So you already know like there are other
Mm-hmm.
answers. You could take, you know, you could use medical drugs, but you're like, wait a minute, I already know there are a lot of other answers, so I'll try these. But unfortunately, a lot of people, like your average corporate worker, for example, will never have this kind of perception that there are more answers than just taking medical drugs. And a lot of times it's kind of like, for this person, when you go to a medical doctor, you just think they have the answers to everything, you know, and they know health and wellness from the inside out. And by them telling you take this drug, it's the right answer, and there are no other answers, or they would tell you the other answers. This is kind of like how the average person perceives it, oftentimes, you know. But how, when you first, you know, went to the medical doctor and they told you to take this, like what was kind of going through your mind that you kind of accepted it for a little bit? I know you kind of went off of it pretty quickly, but you initially kind of agreed to do it.
When she first told me, um, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know anything about diabetes, honestly. I didn't know anything. The only thing that came to my head and I pictured it was that I was gonna go on dialysis. Or they were gonna cut my finger or my foot or something, you know. That was the thing that I came in and I didn't know anything. Mostly I knew about arthritis, so
Hmm.
I wasn't prepared for that. So so I didn't know how if I had to take the medication, and well, that was the first thing that I went right to get my blood test and help me what was going on. But I knew that before I have other issues, health issues, and it it helped with eating healthier, um, vitamins, supplements, and all the stuff to get better, but mostly with food. So I accepted, I accepted I was diagnosed with this disease, and right now I'm gonna take this and see how it goes. But as soon as I start feeling all those crap things, I'm like, no, this is not good. And I noticed that as soon as I started eating healthier, it was like I may not
Hmm.
need any medication. It's just so I follow the doctor's instruction. I just follow it. But as soon as I found out, I know myself. I told myself, if you were able to get rid of
Hmm.
some other things before, you can do this. And as you say, I'm here with so many trainers that they really focus on medicine, or medicine like,
Hmm.
how do you say, homeopathic medicine or something like that. And myself might not have been on knowledge from here and there. So I'm like, no, the body has the ability to heal by itself. And I know myself because I massage people, and I have seen people that they tell me, the doctor told me that I wasn't ever going to lift my arm like this. They gave me medication, they gave me cortisone shot, and they gave me this. And I massaged them like 2, 3 times, and they're
Hmm.
like, I can move it. My arm is back again. So I'm like, if I know the body is capable of doing so many things, heal by itself. But if you give the right nutrients, the right things to do, it will be able to do it. So I didn't, I didn't have a doubt that I was able to do it. I just didn't know how to go through that. I didn't know how to help my own body to in the right way. So that's why I
Yeah, I
prayed
had
and
kind of like a
okay.
similar experience in the past, like a long time ago with a few issues. You always run into random health issues here and there, even when you're taking care of yourself. Mine weren't anything major, but one of them
Yes,
was like, for example, when I was still at the University of California, Irvine, which your kids go to now. Yeah, love that school.
my
But I
son.
had terrible acne on my back. And I went to a dermatologist who's like a
Mm-hmm.
PhD and MD. So you would think, okay, they know everything about the skin. Whatever they say
They
is
know
going to be
everything.
gold.
Yes,
And
exactly.
he's like, well, it's genetics and your age growth, and stuff of that sort. And this is what happens during your your youth, for a lot of people. But I knew there was something wrong with that because
Yeah,
the thing is,
yeah.
I was still traveling a lot, even back then. And I noticed that my skin would clear up
Mm-hmm.
completely when I would travel. Like when I went to China for quite a while, I was like backpacking. And like you get sweat on your back a lot. Uh, I
Yes,
was eating just
yes.
kind of street food oftentimes, not off the like ground, but street food as in whatever. But like
Mm-hmm.
I was not eating as well as I thought I was eating in the States. I wasn't like maybe taking showers all day because you're walking around with this backpack and my skin will clear up, in like a week or two of being on the trip. I'm like, well, I know I didn't change physiologically that much in 24 hours from flying over there to here, and my skin would clear up.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I had another issue with psychologically induced, not social anxiety in the past. And uh, I went to
Mm-hmm.
the doctors, and they're like, here, just take this anxiety medication. And I'm like, well, because of the way my grandmother raised me, just something seemed off. I didn't understand it, but something seemed really wrong with that system.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, if I
Mm-hmm.
have social anxiety and, I don't work that many hours, I sleep better, I eat better, I choose my friends more wisely so that they don't cause more problems.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take some improv
Mm-hmm.
classes and some acting classes to learn how to like socialize with people and socialize with people a little bit more. And all of a sudden, my anxiety goes away. I'm like, what a miracle, you know? And
Yeah.
and the
Yep.
thing is, it's like what a lot of,
Exactly.
especially Americans, don't realize that are addicted to kind of symptom management strategies of treatment is that oftentimes it's the person doing it to themselves through their behavior. It's behavioral actions that are leading to problem ABC. So, in a sense, you have to get the person to stop hurting themselves if you want true treatment and resolution of that issue, whatever the issue may be. And kind of like at an easy to understand level, like imagine, Jenny, if we were walking around and you had a rock stuck inside your shoe and it's causing you pain, what happens? Like, how would you look at me if I told you, oh, Jenny, don't worry, keep that rock inside your shoe, but here, take this pain medication and keep walking with that rock inside your shoe? That's exactly for now, no absolutes here. Don't get me wrong, no absolutes. There are exceptions, but that's exactly how
Totally.
medical drugs are used. And I hate calling it medicine because it's not. They're just like very dangerous drugs oftentimes that oftentimes inhibit the person to keep participating in the
Mm-hmm.
behavior, kind of keep being the person that led them into that problem. And then once again, if they don't correct the belief system that led them into that one health problem, it will create a myriad of other health problems throughout their life as well. So if this person takes metformin, for example, okay, it might help you with your type 2 diabetes a little bit, although it might cause a myriad of other problems. But hey, how about your high blood pressure? That's going to cause basically from the same behavioral pattern. How about your lower back pain because of the compressive penalties of having a heavier physique, and the shear strain of having that heavier physique as well? How about the myriads of cancers that arise when you're overweight too? You got to remember like the basic statistics. People ignore these all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
imagine you go to lunch with three
Exactly.
friends. It's you and three friends. Out of those out of that group of four, just on basic statistics, two of those friends will develop cancer within their lifetime and one will die from it. And one of those four will die from a heart attack. So you're losing, bam, 50% of your friends at that one table from oftentimes uh, very preventable diseases and issues that are a symptom and byproduct of poor lifestyle and nutritional choices. And I think a lot of times um, people are desperately looking for easy solutions for complicated issues because if they don't
Exactly.
accept that easy
Exactly.
solution, inevitably, if they're honest with themselves, what they're going to have to do is look in the mirror and admit to themselves that they're doing it to themselves and they have to stop doing it to themselves. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Jenny.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. I'm curious, have you ever been confused by the labels in the grocery store? In Yevgeny's book, he demystifies the difference between caged, cage-free, free-range, and pasture-raised meats. He also covers how to avoid GMOs, source high-quality water, fish, supplements, and other related topics. It's a beautifully illustrated, non-technical read that comes with a comprehensive video series and other extended learning materials. Jump on Amazon and check out the book titled Anti-Factory Farm Shopping Guide by Eugene Trufkin. Now let's dive back into the podcast.
Yes, I'm totally agree with you, Eugene. Totally agree because in my case, they're gonna give me the medication, yes, but what do I have to do myself? I mean, the medication can help for a little bit, but then what? Who knows? Who knows? That's what I thought. Who knows what medication is gonna damage inside? And I used to watch the news in this channel, and and every commercial or advertisement segment, it was medication for diabetes, for medicine for arthritis, medicine for type 1 diabetes, everything. I'm like, what are they trying to tell us with this thing? And what about my body? What about my responsibility? What damages? And then it says, oh, secondary effects, damage to the liver, bleeding, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so that means that I'm going to bleed internally and I'm not going to even know. So that means that my liver is going to get worse. So why am I taking this medication? So that made me think, I'm like, no, Jenny, you have to go natural way, and in your body has to do it in the right way. So, and another thing is that, um, I think we have we don't do the things that we're supposed to do because we don't want to give up on our pleasure of eating. We don't want to give, pizza, donuts, all that stuff that it's around there. Just taste good. Well, actually, right now, not anymore. I don't taste that good anymore. It's so amazing that I can eat a little bit of that, and I'm like, oh, this is disgusting. It doesn't even have a flavor. It's not good. But before, the pleasure of eating that, and like you say, is makes me feel better, makes me feel that I am accepted into that group of people that are eating that thing. So is that I think that you want to taste the thing good and you don't want to give away that. So so is that, and here the brain is just, as I said, very, very complex, and it gives you so much stuff that doesn't let you think in the right way. So when I really wanted to get rid of the medication because my internally, I don't know what's going to happen with my body then after, if I keep doing this thing, and if I don't lose the weight right now, who knows what's going to lead to this. Maybe I will get arthritis, maybe in a few years, maybe I will get cancer, maybe I will get, if the cancer is, well, the cancer is going to affect me in 20 years. What
Hmm.
about if it's going to affect me in 5 years because of
Hmm.
this thing? Well, what do you want, Jenny? What do you want? You want to start in 5 years or in 20 years? Maybe in 20 years you're going to feel much better. It's going to take another 10 years for you to get cancer. So, yes, as much as medicine is amazing and it has the good side of it and everything, it's good. My son is going to become a doctor, and I'm so happy for him. But it's about this process that it's the ground level that we have to take care of ourselves. The body has to be in a healthy way to not to get all those
Yeah, and it's like I
diseases.
always tell people, I remind them of the grandmother that raised me in Ukraine that I told you about. Like, literally, like went to the
Mm-hmm.
doctor a single time in her whole entire life just to give birth to my mom, and ended up dying at
Oh.
87, like fully active. She even her husband passed away a lot earlier than she did, and she even took care of the whole entire like
Mm-hmm.
ranch herself for like the last like 15 or 20 years. So it's like very physically active until
Mm-hmm.
the last day, and it's like, dude, good luck finding like someone that healthy at like your local medical convention, or like even if you go to like your local nutritionist convention or registered dietitian convention, they should just call it the obesity convention, because no one there even looks well, although they sound like, I don't know if you've ever been, but it's like, dude, a lot of the people there are just very overweight, very overworked,
No.
very unhealthy, not living true to the health conscious lifestyle that health professionals should hold themselves to. Because if you're not doing it, I mean, you're
Mm-hmm.
communicating to your clients unconsciously to not do it either. And for the parents out there, your kids always learn from you by watching what you do, not necessarily by what you tell them. So if you're not taking care of yourself and putting your happiness
Mm-hmm.
or physical health first, guess what? You're making it look acceptable to them. And guess what? They're going to do exactly the same thing. And if it led you to a life of obesity, misery, and disease, well, guess who's following in your path? And so it's your responsibility to set like a good
Exactly.
example. And that same thing goes for your doctors out there, or physical therapists, or nutritionists, or whatever, that are not living true to being healthy themselves. You're not setting an example of how to actually do it in the real world, because like one of my mentors would say, knowledge isn't power. Like applied knowledge is power. It's knowing how to do it and make it happen in the real world. That's where it
Exactly.
really happens. So everyone can talk. They have a bunch of these talking heads. And in fact, like my grandma barely even learned how to read. And I guarantee you she knows more about health and wellness and mental well-being than a lot of these health gurus around here, that are kind of like phony for the most part, and not even living true to, they say one thing on camera and then like doing completely the opposite off camera. And you can see them, like especially a lot of these like anti-aging experts that for some reason look 20 years older than they actually are. And I'm
I
like, wait,
know.
like
Yeah.
You're looking older. You're not looking younger, you know? I'm like, what happened to the anti-aging thing? Meanwhile, I don't even freaking use soap.
Exactly.
I just, I just been washing my skin with like water for the last like 15 years, you know? And I'm like, man, you got to just master the basics, you know? And a lot of times that is literally all you need is master the basics.
Exactly.
And I,
Yes, exactly.
go
I'm
ahead,
totally
babe.
agree with
Did you want
them.
to say
Tell me.
something? Yeah, and then another
No,
thing
no,
you
no. Tell
mentioned
me,
when
tell
you're
me.
talking is, and I felt is like very important, and that's like Americans like inability to no longer listen to their body's many cries for help. Your body is constantly communicating with you if something's working or not working. If you have, for example, something simple, if you're tired, that's your body's way of saying you need to rest, not have another cup of coffee. You know, the ironic thing is, I don't know if you noticed
Mm-hmm.
this, but coffee
Mm-hmm.
drinkers, they're drinking so much coffee and they always look tired. And I'm like, I thought it's supposed to give you energy. Where is the energy? You look old, tired, fatigued, haggard. I'm like, dude, your body is desperately communicating with you that you need to stop doing what you're
Yes.
doing and either
Yes.
completely eliminate the activity. Some people just have to quit their work. No matter how much health coaching they do, it's just too overwhelming or too toxic. But some people are in a position where if they just change a few things around, it could actually still work very well. Like, for example, instead of working at the office, maybe choosing to work remote half the week or all week. That way you have an extra, you know, 5 to 10 hours a week to focus on yourself. And it could all work out actually really well for you. Everyone's a little different, and what strategies work for one may not work for the other, may hurt a third, may do
Mm-hmm.
nothing for the fourth. So you got to figure out what works for you. But that's another thing you touched on. Americans need to get used to listening to their body's many cries for help and not numbing it out with food, alcohol, all these dangerous pharmaceutical drugs. Once again, take the rock out of your shoe and walk pain free. Stop leaving the rock in your shoe and taking painkillers so you can walk with that rock in your shoe pain free. Come on, like a 2-year-old child understands this, okay? And I see a lot of educated adults just totally numbskulls in this area, like totally looking super dumb, you know, with their approach to these. So,
Yeah. Yeah, totally about that. It, my body was giving me the signs, and was telling me, work out more, do more of this, don't eat that. And I was feeling like tired, and getting up in the morning was very hard for me. And I noticed that before, like, I don't know, a few years ago, and I started changing my food and working more, and that went away. But then, you know, my kids having a family is totally different. I had to focus more on my kids more. They were not driving. I had to take them to school, pick them up, take them to activities, take them to here and there. So it was hard to handle all that stuff. So yes, I knew that I have to do, and that's something that I want to do, like go once a week to the beach. I'm very close to the beach, so I can go. But I start leaving those things behind because I was overwhelmed with other stuff. So when you told me, you have to think of yourself, you have to put yourself first, I was like, yeah, but who's gonna wash the dishes? Who's gonna wash all the stuff? And who's gonna pick up my kids? I can't do that. But little by little, I learned, and it wasn't that much that I have to do, but it was just certain time that I had to take some time off and just reconnect to myself and peacefully. And I like to meditate, I like to pray, but also before I was kind of like an hour, and then suddenly I started going reducing the time for you know 20 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, thank you God for this day, and bye. So that time for
mm-hmm.
meditation was very important for me because put me ground. And when you come and tell me that, I'm like, I have lost that. I haven't put the effort to sit up and talk to myself, to my God, to my staff. And it was gone because I was putting some other things. And I was noticing that I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't loving myself that much. And if I don't love myself, I cannot give so much love to my kids, as much as I can, as much as I love them. So little by little, those changes, and of course, I'm a woman, and I want my house clean. I want everything, organized and everything. So you told me, Jenny, don't forget about the dishes.
You
I'm
got
like,
to
but who's gonna clean them?
clean your body first.
And
That's
little,
more important than the damn dishes. You know?
exactly, exactly. So I'm like, okay, Jenny, just put them in the dishwasher and turn it on and go relax. The floor is not gonna die if you don't clean it right now. So just relax. So I enjoy myself more, and that helped me too. So the body tells you, and as I said, I know because of the massage as well that the body is talks to you, but unfortunately we don't listen or we don't pay attention, or as you said, we take coffee and boom, we think that
Yeah.
with that we're gonna get more energy. But no, it is not true. And yeah, I enjoy my coffee once in a while, and I enjoy it. If I don't enjoy it, I'm not gonna drink it because
Hmm.
it's not gonna be peaceful for me. So if I have a cup of coffee, it's because I'm going to enjoy it peacefully, sitting in my dining room and
Yeah.
relax. Well, and that I drink coffee. During the
Yeah.
day, I
And
don't
I
drink
feel you
coffee.
touched on one of the
So
most important things that leads to a lot of people's misery, which eventually leads to poor eating habits, as a form of like numbing out and comfort, etc., which leads to excess weight, which leads to a myriad of other issues, possibly even drug addiction in the most extreme of circumstances. But you mentioned the importance of being selfish. And it sounds so counterproductive, because all your life you're raised, don't be selfish, uh, focus on your tribe or whatever, raising them. But here's the thing,
mm-hmm,
if you're not
mm-hmm,
having your needs met first, nothing is going to last long
yep,
term, be it a personal relationship
mm-hmm,
or a
mm-hmm,
job or a friendship. Because, first of all, I mean, you have to
mm-hmm,
identify your core values, which most people are totally kind of clueless on that because they're operating unconsciously through life and just kind of mirroring what society throws back at them. They're not even kind of thinking for themselves for the most part. But even the ones that do identify, the 1 out of 10 or even lower than that, you have to make sure like those needs are met in your job, for example. Like for me, um, I always wanted to work like 3 days a week. So obviously, if I got a job that causes me to work 5 to 6 days a week, that's not having a core value met. And in the beginning, it might be okay. Year one, year two, you're making maybe more money or stuff of this
mm-hmm,
sort.
mm-hmm,
But eventually, in the back of your head,
mm-hmm,
you're being fake to yourself and your needs are not being met, and you're going to grow disgruntled towards your work, your coworkers, your partner, your friend, whatever. So you have to identify your core values. That's key and important because that acts as a blueprint to literally everything you do in life. And if you don't do that, you're just kind of lost in the forest without any light. You're just going in random directions wherever you feel is kind of like the safest and not really being true to your inner spirit. And from my
mm-hmm,
observation, it's
mm-hmm.
this disconnection of core values, and the wider the gap, the more mental and physical misery a person has in their life. And uh, this disconnection causes various diseases, causes maladaptive behaviors that lead to overeating, that lead to dependence on prescription drugs. And I got to say, you guys, they're drugs, okay? Not medicine, drugs. So remember, they're drugs. And the people that take
Yeah, the
pharmaceutical
drugs.
drugs are almost in line with the same people that kind of take street drugs as well. Because, in a sense, both parties don't want to change the behavior that led to the issue involved. And they want to keep doing that behavior, but want to continue with their life, but need something to help them keep going. So it's kind of like almost the same thing. I know it's two slightly extreme examples, but just kind of pointing out how to look at it. Because a lot of times I feel just through these commercials that you mentioned that you would see all the time, people have been kind of brainwashed to really believe that it's kind of like an acceptable path to have that as a first choice option. I remember, no absolutes. One time I had
Mm-hmm.
a terrible ear infection from swimming around in Hawaii that spread to my jaw really quick. And I took antibiotics and it probably saved my life,
Yeah.
Um, I couldn't even
Yeah,
open
no,
my
totally agree.
jaw. Maybe it's a good thing for some people. They're like, thank God that guy can't open his mouth anymore. You know, I couldn't even open my jaw the second day. You know, it was like that bad. And I'm so thankful that those antibiotics were invented to help me and stuff of that sort. My issue
Totally,
is with a lot of these
totally.
lifestyle
Yes,
disorders and medical drugs being the first course of action
exactly.
for them, not even touching on behavioral change or
Mm-hmm.
any follow-up procedures or any of that sort. And yeah, and just another thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like Americans like mentality of like, if you're not dying for your job, you're not doing your job. You know, that's like very common in the culture as well. And you're almost kind of like, even I remember I had a great client that would show up for coaching, and she was like a very talented computer programmer. And when she would show up on her lunch hour, on the hour she's off to train with me, she would be getting text messages from her boss saying like, you're setting a bad example because as we're working here, you're like working out and taking care of yourself. And that's totally common in corporate culture. And you wonder why when you go into
Wow,
corporate
wow.
offices, and I used to do corporate health lectures, you just see nothing but obesity, misery, and disease. I mean, 9 out of 10 people there are just so unhealthy, and you can see the defeat on their face and just how unhealthy they are. And the sad part is
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them just aren't even conscious to how unhealthy they are. They really, really think they're doing fine because they're doing their 10,000 steps a day. And I'm like, dude, like if you think all you have to do is work out and eat a little bit better to solve even the minute and most simplest of health issues, you will be running in circles your entire life. You will never, if anything,
Mm-hmm.
you'll just have some short-term pathetic success of some sort, but you'll never have a complete resolution of even the most minute of health issues. Going to that model of, I just need to eat better and work out more. All you needed to do was work out to solve all your problems. Construction workers would all be Olympians, okay? Because all they're doing is working out all day, but
Yes,
most of them are very
exactly.
overweight and unhealthy themselves. But is there something you wanted to add, Jenny?
Well, yeah, I was gonna tell you about my job. That's why I love my job. I love what I do because, I have the opportunity, it gives me the opportunity to start. Yeah, I have my schedule from 9 to 5, but if I don't have, if I don't start until 10, I'm able to start at 10. If I want to start at 8, that's okay. And I know that I'm gonna leave earlier. And nobody's pushing me, nobody's telling me what to do. Well, my clients sometimes they tell me what to do, but at this point, working for so long, and I know most of my clients are 85% of them are I know them since like 10 years ago, so I know what to do, and they trust me, and it's very easy, and I don't see myself working. I honestly have never worked for a company. Well, I one time, but um, I'm so happy with my job, and I work in the gym. If I have time, I go work out. I walk around Sky Park, and nobody's telling me, "What are you there?" or your client's here and you're not here. No, no, no. I know my time. I know my things. I I'm happy with my job, so I don't have to deal with anybody, and I don't have the stress from my work. So I don't see myself working for a company or working for big companies. I have a company, but it's a with more people or behind my
Mm-hmm.
back, or you're not doing this thing. So, and I'm
I
chill
think
with my
that old
job. I
saying
love my
goes,
job.
once you're self-employed, you're forever unemployable. Like you'll never go back and work kind of for someone else,
Yes.
you know?
No, no. Unless they pay
Yeah.
me ten
Okay,
thousand
well then
dollars an
sign
hour,
sign
then
me
I
up
will
too.
go.
And I'm gonna be out of there in like 2 months, dude. You know?
I'm gonna make $1 million
Yeah,
and then I'm done.
exactly.
Bye.
So so yeah,
So,
are there any other like pieces of advice that you would give to people kind of struggling with diabetes right now and looking for like real answers for change?
well, I would say that listen to your body and listen to, follow you. I understand that sometimes we don't believe in so many things. There's so much information out there, so much. But yeah, look at the person that's selling you, look at the person that it's uh, telling you about a program. Of course, you, as I said, your physique, your body, your the skin that you had, it made me feel comfortable saying, oh, yes, I'm gonna go with you because I know that I can tell there's something different with you. So I would go for that, and don't hesitate and don't wait, because that disease and other diseases is not, you don't know what's going on inside your body. That's what my thing. You don't know what's going on inside your body. You don't know what damages are doing inside your body. And yes, all the food is, the junk food is good, but it's not going to help you to be better in your life. So as much as it's going to be hard, yes, in the beginning, but once you pass that level, you go into another level in your life that is the best, honestly. And it's more, you don't have cravings, you don't have anxiety of eating these things, and you have more energy. It's Life is much better with that. Yes, you're gonna have temptations and all the stuff, but your body knows now. Your body, and you help your body recognize the symptoms, and your body recognize what's the best for you, and that's number one.
Yeah, and you guys
Number one.
remember, like, no matter what your goal is in life, it could be like being an advanced programmer, president of a company, a great parent at home, whatever. Like, guess what? You can't accomplish any of that stuff without your mental and physical health. End of story. Even for some reason, if you did accomplish it, like, you'll be miserable and in pain the whole entire life, then what's the point? What's the point of your life? You're just living like a miserable person in pain their entire life. What's the point? And that's like sometimes
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the most pushback I get is honestly from like 50 or 60-year-olds. They're like, oh, I'm going to take care of myself next month. I even had one time a 70-year-old tell me, oh, I'm going to start next month when my business stuff clicks. I'm like, dude, you are freaking 70, man. Like, you might not even be around next month with the way you're taking
I,
care of yourself. Kind of get what is wrong with these guys, man. They're like kind of in cuckoo land, dude.
I think I'm I know it's gonna feel sounds ironic, but I'm so thankful that I got that diabetes, because I was diagnosed with that diabetes, because otherwise I would have been like your client. I'm gonna start next month. I'm gonna be when I'm do this, or when I'm glad. I'm glad because that kick in something that I have to be more aware before and take care of myself. And thanks God it was only that, because and I was able to control it, to get rid of. And I'm gonna be 50 in 2 months. So I reached my goal, and from there, from now to whatever they let me live, I'm gonna live healthy and strong and happy. So thanks to you, Eugene. Thank you so much for your program. Thank you for being so patient, and thank you for giving me all this knowledge
Cool.
about
Thank you,
my
Jenny.
body.
It's good
Thank
to
you
see
so
you, by the way.
much.
I haven't seen, for the listeners, I probably haven't seen
Good to see
Jenny
you
in like
too.
maybe 3 years already now at this point or something. So, but we
I
keep in touch.
know.
I'm never
When are
going
you gonna
back.
come?
I'm
Yeah, when are you
enjoying
gonna
it. I'm
come over here?
enjoying it here way too much. We
Ah,
got like so much freedom and got my own gym at home here. And just like I'm going to try to get a
I
steam room and
know.
sauna installed pretty soon. So I'll be like, bam, don't even have to leave the house anymore. I have my
Then I'm
dream
gonna.
life now.
Well, I cannot be like you. I'm a outdoor person. I have to deal with people. I have to talk to people, and
Gotcha.
I
Hey,
like
there
to
needs
do
to
all
be
that
balance
stuff.
in the
So
universe.
no.
There needs to be balance. So,
Maybe I'm gonna go visit you.
hey,
Maybe I'm gonna
you're
go
always
visit
welcome.
you
It'd be
one
good
of
to see
these
you. So,
days.
okay.
All
All right.
right.
Thank you. Good to see you,
Thank
Jenny.
you,
Have a good
Eugene. Thank
weekend. And
you.
everyone on the call, have a good weekend as
Good to
well.
see
Thank you
you.
for jumping in, guys. Good to see everyone. Take care.
Thanks for tuning into the podcast. If you've ever had trouble losing weight, or you've lost weight, but still didn't have the ideal body or health you're aiming for, please feel free to reach out anytime and book an assessment. Eugene will work with you to cover your goals in detail, see what's holding you back, and go from there. In the meantime, feel free to check out the countless testimonials on Eugene's website in the link below. In the testimonial section, you'll notice everyone has various backgrounds, are of all different ages, and all have had different challenges in their life, but they all have one thing in common: they were all able to find their health and achieve their ideal body. You're also welcome to add yourself to the Facebook group in the link below. There you'll have access to the live videos that Eugene does weekly on Sundays, and other helpful content. Thank you again for tuning in.